Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Conan Hamilton. I'm a front of house member here at the Playhouse Theatre. We have been bowled over by your donations to the Playhouse Musical Theatre Company so far. Thank you. Tonight, you will witness a series of cabarets, our own words. There will be a short interval of 10 minutes, so please grab your favourite libation and enjoy. And please continue to support the Playhouse.
For me, life is like a deck of cards. More specifically, a poker hand known as a royal flush. A royal flush consists of holding the 10, ace, jack, queen, and king, all of the same suit. The 10 of hearts is the foundation card upon which your life is built. This, for me, is music. As someone who's never been good at seeking advice from real people, I find the comfort I need in the song lyrics of artists who don't know I exist and they don't care either. The ace of hearts represents love. Now, the heart on my card is more symbolic of platonic love, as I value this so much higher than romantic love, as I don't actually know where I'd be if it wasn't for the friendships I'd formed over the years. Actually, that's a lie. I know I'd be dead, but I don't know if it was too early or not in the show to get into that. In society, we feed into this cancerous idea of love because we have it shoved down our throats from the day and hour we arrive on the planet. A few prime examples being Ross and Rachel, Shrek and Donkey. Say what you will, the bromance was just a bit too strong. But the most famous of all stupid fictional couples would have to be Romeo and Juliet. Those two shits got it so easy. They never had to weave through the pull of awkward first dates, psycho exes, and I can guarantee Juliet never spent hours swiping left and right on countless dating apps just for the first interaction with the love of her life to be an unsolicited dick pic. Never happened, just thinking off the top of my head. And to be honest, I would love to have a conversation with Juliet because I have so many things I'd love to get off my chest. I wish I had that opportunity. Hey, Juliet, I think you took the last good one. Hey, Juliet, I think you might have even jumped the gun. Hey, Juliet, where'd you find a man like that one who still loved you even though your stars were crossed? Hey, Juliet, I'm not in your position. Hey, Juliet, I still haven't found the one. 'Cause every time I take that chance, I'm left heartbroken. Yeah, they all leave when someone better comes along. Still, I'll keep scraping through that barrel, hoping there's a good one in the bad bunch that I've met. And every time I ask myself, is this worth the gamble? Then go all in, but have to fold and lose the bet. Juliet, what's it like to have Cupid on your side? Juliet, was he your eyes when love made you blind? And I try my best, but all I get is left with lovers I regret. Do I set myself up to fail, or am I just that easy to forget? So I'll sign my name on the line and mark it with an X, and on behalf of all the heartbreaks, fuck you, Juliet. The Jack card represents hope. Ugh, we love a bit of hope, don't we? It's the reason we're all here. The Jack card is my court jester card, as my beacon of hope is humour. More specifically, finding humour in places I promise you it is inappropriate to find it. For me, it's at least good enough to know that if I can't make myself happy in life, the very least I can do is try and make other people happy. Now, the Queen of Hearts. Control. I maintain control by keeping people at a distance. The way I see it, and I'm speaking from experience here, the less people see past the front I put up, the less opportunities there are in life for me to get hurt. The thought that even at my very best, I'm still not good enough is so hard for me to face, that I work so hard to not even be the best version of myself, but just to be a version of myself I think people will like. And even that isn't good enough for some of them. The thought that at my very best, I'm still nobody's first choice is my biggest fear, and yet my toughest reality. I prefer to know it's my own fault that I'm lonely. So if I can pinpoint that I am lonely because I distance myself from people, at least that's better than opening myself up to the possibility that maybe I'm just nothing special that people want to stick around for. Every now and again, a bad hand gets dealt. I feel myself losing this sense of control over the game I'm playing, and then just as the chips are about to go down, I panic and hide my cards from anyone who might see the real me. Head down, eyes up, hold your cards against your chest. Bets are on, stakes are high, but don't let them see inside your head. They might see that you're the wild card in the deck. If I reveal my ace of hearts, will you see and raise my bet? No, I know I'll do what it takes to win the game. When you've got nothing left to lose, you stop pretending. Life's not perfect. We all face setbacks. We all find a joker in the pack from time to time. A global pandemic, for example. But it's at these points where I'm at my lowest, I work even harder to maintain my facade of composure. Because the best way to win a poker game is by bluffing. Cards down, game's up, I haven't got the hand to win. Oh well, so what? I've got you fooled, so I'm all in. You'll never see that I'm the wild card in the deck. You're playing with the Queen of Hearts. I put a joker in the pack, cause I'll do what it takes to win the game. When you've got nothing left to lose, you stop stop pretending. I got my poker face on, gonna act like that's enough. If I play the game right, maybe you won't call my bluff. Gonna pretend that it's fine when I get dealt a bad hand. Now the cards are on the table and they're just showing red. So how will I react when the chips finally go down? If you wanna raise the stakes, am I in or am I out? I've got cards up my sleeve. If I need to cheat, the game won't matter though. You won't see past my poker face. You won't see past my poker face. Won't let you see. The King of Hearts. Happiness. Because you can have everything you want in life, but it's useless if it's not going to make you happy. As long as you can say, when the chips go down, the game is settled, you've got a royal flush, who fucking cares how you got it? So, are you ready to place your bet?
What has been the most important moment of your life? For me, it was that one, or at least that was my little interpretation of it. It was 2015, and I was 25 years old, and I had just discovered a man. Yeah, no. I know what you're thinking. All that for a man? She must be a nightmare. Well, no, you're wrong. Thanks, though. No, this was different. Although, yes, I did meet my partner in 2015, and I proposed to him in 2020. Of course he said yes. Anyway, this was different. This was mind-blowing, life-altering. It was the most fulfilling moment. Sorry, Ricky, I mean, like, I love you and you're a great big ride. But he understands. So yeah, this was different. I was 25 and I was living with my mom, and I got this weird text. And the text said, I'm looking for the family of Jack. Now, Jack is my dad, and the text was looking for the family of Jack. Jack's alive. My dad's very much alive. Why are they looking for the family of Jack? They're looking for the family of Jack, and they give details about where he lives and what he works as. Oh, duh. My dad has gone and replied to some email about a Saudi prince, hasn't he? And this is all just a big scam, of course. But I can't really just leave it there because, you know, it's just not quite me. So I Google the phone number, and Norway comes up. Norway, right. Okay, yeah, definitely a scam. Okay. And my mum comes in, and I still haven't let it go. And so I start asking her questions. I say, have you and Dad ever been to Norway? No. Have you got friends in Norway? No. Has Dad ever been to Norway? Her face just drops, and she turns white. And in that moment, I know. And so cut to me, hyperventilating, falling apart, tears and laughter all at once. And she's just freaking out, looking at me. Oh my God, Raina, are you okay? Breathe, just breathe. Oh, what to do? Oh, what to do? Oh, what to do? What to do? Oh, breathe. Breathe. we go. So I try to gather myself and breathe. Have a little chat with my mum. And I excuse myself and go upstairs. And I know exactly what's about to unravel, but I can't help it. I have to just confirm. So I text back the number and I say, I know who you're looking for, but this all seems a bit random. Do you mind giving me a bit more information? And the texter replies, completely understanding. Yes, no problem. Jack went to Norway 40 plus years ago and dated my aunt. And together they conceived a son. And last week, it was that son's birthday. So pure dramatic, I text back, wish my brother a happy birthday from me. So that explains that moment. I was shocked. I was ecstatically happy. I was so relieved. I was relieved because a few years prior, I had overheard a conversation that suggested that my dad had conceived another child with someone else. And I didn't know if it was carried to full term, if I had a sibling out there or not. Why didn't I just ask? Well, around the same time that I overheard that conversation, my parents split up, and my family was in upheaval. And I just didn't feel like I could have that conversation with my dad. I felt like I was betraying this sibling by not being brave enough. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. Because I knew you. Because I know you. I have been changed for good. So, there's the answer to the big question. Have I met him? I have. In fact, just months after those texts, he came to Ireland with his partner. So we all got to meet him. And I've been to Norway several times. My brother is your typical, super tall Viking. He's got long curly hair and absolutely loves the hard stuff. Rock and metal. Yeah. I was really excited when we had heard that we had music in common. But it was pretty quick for us to realize that while my brother was moshing away to his guitar, I was trying to be Andrea Corr, singing nice and sweetly with my violin, so we actually didn't have that much music in common after all. It's been a couple of years now since I've seen him. I had hoped to go over for a couple of years, or for a couple of weeks, in the summer of 2020, but the pandemic hit. So that ended that idea. But I find loads of ways of trying to feel close to him. It could be as simple as wearing my Ramones t-shirt, just because we all have one. I don't even know if I like the Ramones. Or it might be drinking a hot whiskey from my Norwegian cup that I got for Christmas. Or Something more bizarre, like me wearing lots of embroidered clothing to try and look like I'm wearing a Norwegian bunad. It's just their traditional dress. Or really, really, really bizarrely, it could be me wearing my rain jacket that I got off Facebook Marketplace simply because it has the word Bergen on it. Now, I happen to know, or at least strongly believe, that my brother was conceived in the Norwegian city of Bergen. Yes, a little bit bizarre. But most of the things revolve around food. Food. It really brings people close together, and you'll hear Rachel talk about that later. For me, it could be Taco Friday, because that's what we did in Norway. Or it could be having a lazy Saturday breakfast with crispy breads and various cheeses, some vegetables, and you have to have a spreadable herby cheese. I never would have eaten it if I hadn't have been introduced to it in Norway. But that's always the way, isn't it? Or it could be really simple. Something like a waffle cone ice cream. You see, the first time that I went to Norway, before I said my goodbyes to my brother, he dropped me off at the train station and he treated me to a waffle cone ice cream. And I felt like this little kid next to her big, tall brother being treated to ice cream. He bought me ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Imagine that, ice cream. And for the first time, we were together without a spat. Friendly, he was so friendly. That isn't like him. I'm simply stunned. Will wonders never cease? Will wonders never cease? It's been a most peculiar day. Will wonders never cease? Will wonders never cease? Where was I? Oh, yes. So I have a 47-year-old Norwegian brother, and I love him, and he loves me, and I couldn't be happier. Okay, there's times where I think back and I wish that he was there in my childhood. But the main thing is that guilt that I carried. Well, I've learned to let that go. Letting go, letting go. Jeg skal stige like solen nå. Letting go, letting go. Perfekt er fortid så. Jeg er klar, og jeg smiler bredt. La det storme her. Litt frost gjør meg ingenting uansett.
When I was a boy, I was obsessed with Western movies. If I'm being honest, I still am. I am really just easily entertained by any Western movie. I don't know why. My favorite ones are the old classics from the 60s with Clint Eastwood or John Wayne. There's nothing I enjoy more than sitting down, nice plate of food, cold drink, and the good, the bad, and the ugly on the TV. Evening sorted. Truth be told, when I was really young, I really wanted to be a cowboy. There was just something about the horses and the big hats just amazed me. The reason why I love these films is because I used to watch them with my granda. Every Friday night, he'd get home from work, we'd have our dinner, I'd play whatever games console I was entertained with at the time for an hour. I'd abandon that and join my grandparents in the front room for a movie night. We always put on Turner Classic Movies or Film 4 or just whatever channel was showing a Western. My grandmother hated them, but I was hooked. Hooked. My granddad used to work 12-hour days. He would leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work all day, and come back for about 6 in the evening. He did that 5 days a week, every week, for 30 years. And I don't ever really remember him taking a day off for something that wasn't unnecessary. My love for those films aside, the reason why I would abandon my Xbox or PlayStation or whatever is because of my granddad. He's my best friend. And I love spending time with him. He's my hero. He always reminds me how much he loves me. He's always been there. He always makes me feel like I matter. I noticed that more and more when I was getting bad with mental health issues. I was in a bad way. And my granddad was always there, holding my hand, helping me through it, just there for a chat. My whole family were. But I always find it easier to talk to him, even now. You see, he doesn't know I know this, but he worries a lot. He's like me. And when I was going through this really bad patch, I noticed him a few times, about 3 in the morning. He would pop his head in around my door in the darkness, just to check I was still in bed. He doesn't know I know that, but I do. He always provided for us as well, for the family. We never really wanted for anything. We always had a roof over our heads, food on the table, and clothes on our backs. He always made time for each and every one of us. Still does. More now ever since he got sick. In 2012, doctors diagnosed him with a condition called MS, which, if you don't know, is awful. And he hasn't been well since. And there's just something really difficult about seeing your hero, this person you've always seen as 1,000,000 miles tall, slow down. Half the time, I can't really bear it. I can't watch. Sadly, it's taken me about 20 years to realize how lucky I am to have a man like that in my life. And I've realized that I need to start abandoning things more like I used to. Because as humans, we all have this strange ability to get wrapped up in work or whatever trivial shit is going on, that we lose sight of what's right in front of us. But I like to think that I got all my best qualities from him. He taught me to cook. He taught me to clean. Even something as simple as changing a light bulb. I loved it. But he always taught me to treat everybody with kindness and respect, and to appreciate life the same way he has for the last 65 years. He has this funny little habit that whenever he thinks no one's listening, he sings to himself. And I've noticed this particularly when he's cooking dinner. There's nothing I love more than sticking my ear to the door and just listening. Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys an 8x12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. Third boxcar, midnight train, destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn out suit and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. I smoke old stogies that I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, every handout in every town, and every lock that ain't locked when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys an 8x12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. Before I go, I'll ask one thing of you all. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, tell the people in your life that you love them. Because we see the same people day in and day out. It's easy to forget that they're a person as well. So all I'll ask of you is tell the people in your life that you love them. I hope you can do that.
Many people say that they were born to perform, and many of you think they're full of shite. But not me. I really was. I came out of the womb doing jazz hands. No, not really. But I did love to perform. I was always making up dances, doing impressions. I was constantly trying to entertain. One thing that you may not know about being that type of child is that people find you really, really annoying. Other children thought that I was a show-off. And every year in my school report, the teachers would write that I was far too chatty, which was true. But did they have to write it every fucking year? I actually think that the reason why I was so chatty is because my best friend when I was a child couldn't speak. She was extremely shy. She could talk to me, and she could talk to her parents, and that was about it. So you see, I had to be extra chatty to fill up the dead air. But Rosa was so lovely. She was so smart and so kind. She was really cute. And even though she was chronically shy, everybody just loved her. I sometimes wish that I could be like that. Someone's being bashful. That's no way to be, not with me. Can't you see that I am just as embarrassed as you, and I can understand your point of view. I have always been shy. I confess that I'm shy. Can't you guess this confident air deny it. At bottom, I'm quiet and pure. I'm actually terribly timid and terribly shy. So as you can see, I was never going to be that person. I was just too loud and a bit too much. But these qualities would serve me well in my quest to become an actor. My first memory of performing was in the Primary 1 Nativity. I was an angel. And the reason this performance sticks out so much for me is because the costume that I had been given to wear didn't provide much coverage, and my underpants were fully visible to everyone in the audience that night. Even after this slightly traumatic event, I still wanted to pursue this acting thing, and aren't I glad I did? Because one very eventful day in Primary 4, there was to be a piece of theatre in assembly, and the leading actor had been struck down with a vomiting bug, and I was delighted because they asked me to fill in. They obviously knew that they needed a professional who could jump in at the last minute, and that was me. I played Jesus Christ that day in assembly, the role of a lifetime. But it wasn't an easy task. I hadn't really been raised with religion, so I had to dig deep to find this character. Who was this man, and why did he care so much about sharing his bread? In the end, the assembly was a success, and my status as an actor had really been solidified. My most pivotal role in these early years was when I was cast as the Wicked Witch in the Primary 7 production of The Wizard of Oz. Initially, I didn't want this part. Like all the other basic bitches, I wanted to be Dorothy. I sat up all night preparing for the audition, and I really thought I was in with a chance. And then I saw all the other girls lined up, and they were all way cuter than I was, and some of them might have been better singers too. I had to act fast if I still wanted to get a good role. There was only one wee girl that wanted to be the Wicked Witch, so the part was basically hers, until they asked if anyone else wanted to go, and I put my hand up. Safe to say, I blew them away. My excessive volume would serve me well this day, because I did a really great witch's cackle, and I think that's what landed me the role. As for the other auditionee, I'm pretty sure she still hates me. Now, it was time for me to move on to secondary school, and the school that I had chosen specialised in performing arts. I thought it was going to be like Fame School. It wasn't, but it was great crack nonetheless. I loved studying drama, and I took every opportunity that I could to perform. In year 11, one of the teachers had been approached by the PSNI to create a piece of theatre to educate young people on hate crime and encourage them to report it. If you don't know, hate crime is a crime that is typically violent, based on prejudice to do with your race, religion, sexual orientation, etc. It's a very important issue, and it was a privilege to be chosen to take part. So me and the other 8 white children got to work. We were so excited, and we took our role really seriously. We were here to educate people on hate crime and racism. But we must have done an okay job, because we were asked to perform it quite a lot, and it was even turned into an educational DVD, which I know for a fact is still used today. I would continue to be blessed with great acting opportunities during my time at school, one of which was when the emergency services came in to educate the girls on reckless driving, and part of this was that they would reenact a car accident in the school car park. I was chosen to die in the car accident, and I got to be cut out of the car by the firemen and put into a body bag and have it zipped up by the paramedics. It was an effective tactic though, as I'm 23 now, and I'm still too scared to get behind the wheel of a car. When it came time to leave school, I had actually been offered a place on a nursing course, so I had a big decision to make. Do I become a nurse and not get paid fairly, or do I become an actor and not get paid at all? I went with the acting in the end, and I was fortunate enough to get signed with an agency who would send me out on auditions. One time, I got to go to an audition for Hollyoaks, and I got to spend all my money flying to London by myself for the audition, which would last 6 whole minutes. It's been 4 years now, and I still haven't heard word back. But you never know, fingers crossed. I did book one job, though. It was my first professional job. The project was called Jack in Jail. It was an educational tool on fatherhood for young offenders. And I got to play the young mother. Wow. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. I had great fun doing it, and I did get paid. And once again, I had been tasked with educating the public on a very important issue. Well, not so much the public, as the only people who are ever going to see this are men who are in prison. It's safe to say, being a professional actor hasn't really lived up to my expectations. I hardly ever go on auditions anymore, and when I do, well... When you come home to me, I'll wear a sweeter smile and hope that for a while you'll... Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm climbing uphill, Daddy, climbing uphill. I'm up every morning at 6 and standing in line with 200 girls who are younger and thinner than me, who have already been to the gym. I'm waiting 5 hours in line and watching the girls just coming and going in dresses that look just like this, till my number is finally called. When I walk in the room, there's a table of men, always men, usually gay, who've been sitting like I have and listening all day to 200 girls belting as high as they can. I am a good person. I'm an attractive person. I am a talented person. Grant me grace. When you come home, I should have told them I was sick last week. They're gonna think this is the way I sing. Why is the pianist playing so loud? Should I sing louder? I'll sing louder. Maybe I should stop and start over. I'm gonna stop and start over. Why is the director staring at his crotch? Why is that man staring at my resume? Don't stare at my resume. I made up half my resume. Look at me, stop looking at that, look at me. No, not at my shoes, don't look at my shoes. I hate these fucking shoes. Why'd I pick these shoes? Why'd I pick this song? Why'd I pick this career? In hindsight, maybe I should have gone with the nursing career. At least that way I would have got a round of applause every Thursday night.
Ever since I was a little girl, I've been terrified of the F word. That 4-letter word has been the thing that has got me into the most trouble my 18 years on this planet. Just saying the word has always brought about a rather concerned adult, mainly due to the tone in which I say it. Oh yes, that 4-letter taboo F word that has haunted me my whole life is food. Now you're probably wondering, what has food ever done to offend me so much? Well, first of all, my main issue. I can never really tell what texture they're going to be that day. And secondly, me and my mind have decided that just being around food can make us feel very sick. Now, there's absolutely no rational thinking behind this. I've never actually had a bad experience with food, but some switch flipped in my brain when I was a child, and I was no longer scared of monsters under the bed or the dark. I was scared of my old friend food. Now, there was some members of Food's family that I did get along with quite well, like pasta and rice. They were reliable, never changed much over the years, very safe people to be around. But there was always one family member in particular that I could never get along with. Chicken. Now, everybody else loved chicken, but I'm not so convinced. They spend an awful lot of time with salmonella, and they're a little bit too pink for my taste. Millions of people see chicken every day for lunch and dinner, and for the most part, they're fine. But about 3,000 people die from food poisoning each year, and you didn't hear it from me. But it's chicken's fault. Apparently, I was the only one that could see this. I became blatantly aware of this fact when I tried to explain my conspiracy theory about a serial killing food to my mother and a few therapists. And while they did seem a bit concerned, it wasn't about chicken's antics. It was about me. I'd later found out that I have an avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. It's chicken's fault. And I was tasked with meeting new members of Food's family by sniffing or touching them and being rewarded with a gold star. But I'm sure they found this a little bit weird. I was even forced to confront chicken in its most raw and vulnerable state. But I could not do this. Can any of you blame me? Do you actually like touching a raw chicken? I never became close with the rest of Food's family. Me and my eating disorder decided very early on that if we just retained our friendship with the carbohydrate cousins, we'd be okay. It's a little awkward for us to see Food's other family when we're out, and even more awkward for us to try to explain that we're not shallow. We just don't like how you look, and your texture is a little funny. My eating disorder embarrasses me daily. They're the one person I don't want to be seen with, but the one person that will stick with me for the rest of my life. I hope in some alternate world, a version of me grew up being best friends with food, telling absolutely everybody she meets about food, glorious food, hot sausage and mustard, while we're in the mood, cold jelly and custard, peas, pudding and Savoys. What next is the question? Rich gentlemen have it, boys, in digestion. Food, glorious food, we're anxious to try it. 3 banquets a day, our favorite diet. Just picture a great big steak, fried, roasted, or stewed. Oh, food, marvelous food, wonderful food, glorious food. One of my favourite things about myself is my ears. I love to get my ears pierced, and for the past few years, they've been my secret little form of self-expression, usually hidden by my hair. Since I have no real control over food in my life, I like to take my power back through my piercings. So I adorn my ears with metal balls, and I've become a collector of some very funky earrings. My earring collection ranges from vegan sausage rolls to tiny goldfish in bags to little chickens. Don't worry, they're not real. But my favourite earrings in the whole world are ones I were gifted for my 18th birthday. You see, 2 of my friends accidentally got me the same thing, which I found absolutely incredible, but I'm sure the waitress serving our table found it a tad disturbing. I was gifted tiny plastic babies for my ears. And now you're probably wondering what's wrong with me. Why are these my favourite earrings in the whole world? Well, let me tell you. When I was in school, people would leave these tiny plastic babies everywhere, but I could never find any. I'd walk around school every day on the hunt for them, looking in cabinets and sinks, even in toilets, but to no avail. Until one glorious day when I was on prefect duty and there was no 5th-year boys giving me abuse for not letting them vape in the toilets, I found 3. This was the most amazing day of my life, and from that moment on, they stayed in my pocket, close to my heart. I didn't realize that at the time, but these babies represented some childish fun still left in me, and that trying to understand Chaucer and Shakespeare didn't completely melt my brain. They were my little secret, and I had complete control over them, just like my ears. Well, they were my little secret until they decided to fall out of my pocket in front of 2 very professional men. And it was only when I tried to explain to them why I carried these 3 plastic babies in my pocket that I realized how wonderfully childish that they were and how wonderfully weird that they made me. Do you have anything that keeps you grounded when life gets a little bit too noisy? Well, these are my little things. To me, they were a symbol of fun and hope and chaos in a crazy environment. And even better, I could wear these ones in my ears. So tonight, I'd like to end my performance with a tribute to them. My dear little baby, my sweet little baby, look at my baby and me and my baby and me, we're about as happy as babies can be. What if I find that I'm caught in a storm? Well, I don't care, 'cause baby's there and baby's bound to keep me warm. We're sticking together and ain't we got fun? So much together, you'd count us as one. Tell no man worry to go climb a tree, 'cause I got my baby, my dear little baby. Look at my baby and me. I can assure you they won't go away. I can assure you they grow every day. I was a one once, but now I'm a we, 'cause I got my baby, my dear little baby, my sweet little baby, my cute little baby. Look at my baby and me.
Think back to when you were young. What did you want to be when you grew up? I went from being a Powerpuff Girl to a pop star to a vet to a singer on West End. Always maintained I'd be on stage because for me growing up, music filled the air. I learned to sing with my granda, and he had a beautiful voice. And I spent my childhood listening to his silly songs and learning his favourite music so we could sing together. Mum's family had a tradition on a Sunday night. We'd all gather together, and That was my opportunity to entertain. And trust me when I say I could make a song and dance out of anything.
Did you see my party dress? This morning I was feeling dressy. Mother thinks I'll get it messy, but you cannot see where I have spilled. I spilled here, and here, and here, and... Oh no, that was on my other dress. John Michael stole my birthday cake and Jana Walker tried to take my crunch and munch. It wasn't fair. I grabbed the punch, I climbed the chair, but then I fell and punch went everywhere. On the floor, on my chair, on his shoes, in her hair, but it wasn't on my party dress. John Michael once made fun of soccer, so I stuffed him in a locker. I play soccer and I play the flute. I do art and discover chem and tumbling and t-ball. And I play piano every night. My dad says I'm a prodigy, but I think I would rather be the FBI or CIA, a secret spy who saves the day. And when I finish saving it, I'll play Ode to Joy and John Jones, Wajaka, Allegro, the Pocket Bell Cannon, and also this song I wrote. La la la, la la la, la la la. It has words. I'm a spy, and it's really fun. And I wear a cape, and we saw the Reykjavik Ballet. My dance class is on Saturday. Miss Laura and Miss Lisa say I'm much more bright than I appear. I shall say right, it's very clear that I'll be in the Nutcracker next year. As a mouse, then a soldier, then a candy cane or a marzipan, then a Russian or an angel, then a Polish, and they'll let me dance to this song 'cause I wrote it so well. It goes, I will dance until I play all the parts in the great ballet. Sing with me. I will do a turn and another turn. Mother says I'll quit. I will never quit. I will do a split. And I guess that's it. Oh, and one day when I'm president, my bedtime will be very late, so I have time to legislate the kind of laws I think are cool. I'll pass a clause to banish school, and then all of the countries that I rule will be peaceful and happy and comfortable and sad and frilly and pretty and lacy and silky and perfect and pink like my my party Growing up, my parents knew that it was something I wanted to pursue. So they helped me join choirs, singing and dance classes, youth companies up and down the country. I never got solos or roles like I'd hoped, but I knew I still had so much to learn. So after overcoming the initial disappointment, I'd always bounce back, work hard, and learn more. So at 16, I felt ready to start auditioning locally. And after my first 2 auditions, I was offered the supporting female lead in a big youth production and my first professional contract. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. This is the start, bring it on. But with it came my first big knockback, when the musical director of one of the productions told me I only got the part because of my dancing and my confidence. And if it was up to him, there were better singers for the role. So I mean, that's one way to guarantee less confidence going forward, right? I didn't let it bother me.
I knew I wasn't the most amazing singer, but I was resilient, prepared to work hard, and I was going to prove him wrong. Over the next couple of years, my granddad took ill, and my love for singing faltered. Maybe because he was such a big part of my voice, I don't know. Something about singing just didn't feel right anymore. But I knew he wouldn't want to think I was giving up because of that. So I kept going, and I went in another audition for a company I'd worked with before. Although I still didn't feel my usual confident self, I refused to make excuses. I was determined to do well. But halfway through the audition, I just froze. I was gutted. But it happened. And I figured it was one of those things I just have to deal with. As I grabbed my stuff to leave, 3 of the men responsible for casting approached me individually to say, "What happened? You're not as good as you used to be. You used to be better." Blunt, to the point. I was 18, new to the industry, and they were grown men I looked up to. Think about how intimidating that is. Maybe it's the industry. Or maybe they didn't consider the impact of their words. Either way, I left the building that day in tears. And that's when doubt really settled in. I continued to work hard and learn more, but over time, I came to hate the sound of my voice. In comparison, I knew I didn't sound like other singers. And I was regularly being told that I had a unique voice, which really started to affect me. What does having a unique voice even mean? And why did I feel like that was people's way of kindly telling me they didn't like it? There's a fine, fine line between together and not. There's a fine, fine line between what you wanted and what you got. You gotta go after the things you want while you're still in your prime. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of time. I pushed those thoughts away. And again, I picked myself up and kept going. Jump forward to the second year of my music degree, majoring in solo performance. I already knew the head of performance didn't like my voice, so I worked my ass off. But by the end of the year, I was told to choose a new major. The reason? She, a pianist, didn't like the tone of my voice. The tone! Like, that's something I can change. Excuse me, yes, I'd like to exchange my voice, please. This one isn't in fashion. So yeah, by this point, my confidence is on the floor. Imagine being so passionate about something, but feeling like you just don't belong. I wanted to perform so much, but I loathed the voice I had been given. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst, but I wasted so much time wishing I could change it instead of just embracing it. So fast forward to now, and here I am with this debilitating fear of performing, but here nonetheless, because I refuse to wallow in this woe is me state of anxious avoidance any longer. I tried to give up, focus on other things, but I always want to come back. I used to feel at home on stage. So I continue to try. Try to stop caring what other people think. Try to keep improving in the hopes of rebuilding my confidence, no matter how long it takes. Not for anyone else, though. For me. Tick and tock went my childhood. Father said I would know the place. Skin would tingle and pulse would race as they do. It's here I'm home, where music fills the air. And I'm home, where 1,000 lovers cry, swoon and sigh. And I'm home, where every violin plays a treat as sweet as a honeycomb. And if I'm singing, then I know I'm home, where every English horn makes me feel glad I'm born, and every woodwind trill excites a thrill that's new. The giant contrabass, the great soprano's bass combine to make a perfect world, much better than what's outside dreams. I've lived within my dreams. Now it seems I've awakened at their real pinch and feel. If one day I walk upon this stage from these wings and sing underneath this door, and if I sing with all my heart, I'll be home.
A letter. A letter for me. Dear Molly, thinking back, I never recall a time where you would sit and ponder over the obstacles of perfection. You'd never jump into bed to end up more awake than you'd been that morning. There was no such thing as dining and debating at the tables of what-ifs and I can'ts. You didn't allow those uninvited guests to show up better dressed than you. The young leader in you, shining through, commanding the room as always, fueled by a belly of fire. When you heard music, you would just dance. No time for mathematically counting to 8 and fretting over how many beats were in a dotted minimum. I mean, you still don't, but at least then you owned it. You just moved, divinely human. You just sang, as though music was as vital to earthly life as oxygen. You just wrote, as though the act itself was more poetic than any rhyming couplet. You just dreamed, as though dreaming was living's natural state. A toast to the enchanting, limitless, vibrant artist inside the skin of that 9-year-old little girl who knew that a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartache, whatever you wish for. someday your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. Or will it? Or can it? Or is there even any point in trying? Because what if, you see, when a child grows up with little to no exposure to society's perception of reality or the big bad world, they become conditioned to hear every word and every consonant spoken to them by anyone other than their parents. And quite like a sponge, they start to absorb the remnants of someone else's cruel life experiences and adopt the behaviors that they too developed when someone once told them that they couldn't pursue their dreams. How many times has someone told you you couldn't follow your dreams? And you probably think, I should hate those people. But I don't. I pity them. But above all, I think I do forgive them. Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by villains in Disney films or great works of literature. Villains were brave souls too once, with big dreams until someone told them they couldn't. Who's your favourite Disney villain? Or have you always just thought of them as the bad guy? It's the same with troubled artists. I mean, I possess an almost selfish jealousy that I too couldn't glare out of a hospital window like Vincent van Gogh to see Starry Night, to then paint it, and then have the world see life through my eyes just once. How I'd admire my name in black ink on the wall of a New York museum. Can you imagine? See, I grew up with so much encouragement from my parents, and they always instilled the value of self-confidence and chasing after your dreams. But as I moved through secondary school, it started to be drowned out by my peers, and I no longer cared for what my parents had to say or my inner child. I just interpreted their love and encouragement as bias, and I valued unfulfilling, boring lunchtimes over my own self-expression. See, I was what you would call academically gifted, but my passion didn't lie in STEM, which meant that I was wasting my brains. I mean, what can you do with an English degree, or a paintbrush, or a pair of dance shoes, apart from change the world? I'd try to laugh when the girls would tell me that I couldn't be an actress because I had red hair. I mean, Maureen O'Hara and Rita Hayworth would be turning in their graves if they heard that one. And I'd try to laugh a wee bit harder when the head of history told me not to bother applying for drama because he'd been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. I mean, how many times have you used that phrase when you know absolutely nothing about the thing you're talking about? Aye, that's what I thought. Not very many. But upon reflection, I think villains can make great artists out of people. Tragic heroines, but artists nonetheless. I mean, it's not often you ask someone their comfort read and they say the bell jar. I tried not to let it get to me, and I was always still confused that confident was an insult when you got to big school, because everybody I looked up to was always confident, and I just wanted to be like them. But each term just seemed to bring more discouragement. If I listened hard enough, the phrases still rang out in the back of my mind. A stars, they prance about a stage. You know, you're so smart, but do you not realize this is never going to happen in real life? And a personal favourite of mine. You are nothing but an example of a cliché teenage girl with a pipe dream. A pipe dream I didn't even know what that meant. To me, education almost felt like a guilt-ridden burden because where my intelligence lie. I felt like any path I did decide to follow would just be a pity on the one I passed up. A waste. I saw my life branching out before my eyes. At the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a bright future beckoned and winked. And I sat there, unable to decide, and they wrinkled and plopped to the ground at my feet. Suppose I could do civil law or engineering. I felt like I was being humiliated on the world stage, while simultaneously feeling so invisible. So what did I do about it? Drum roll, please. I done absolutely nothing, apart from learn how to brush off my achievements and not participate in discussions about life and careers, because all I had to offer was radical forms of delusion. What even is an artist? Until one day, I thought I'd simply had enough. So as I drudged to that dreaded careers lesson, I thought I'd put my inquisitive brains to use. Sir, describe your perfect weekend. I'd probably say watching a movie, reading a book. Aye, that's what I thought. And I'm sure most of you would say the same. I take it all those civil engineers love a good go at that Hamlet soliloquy. The things I do to see a physicist do 3 pirouettes. What I'm trying to say is art makes the world go round. People need art. And you and I have the gift to deliver on it. So, as I started to accept my place as an artist, the kind and encouraging words of my parents flooded back, my supportive teachers and my good group of friends. And I realized that I had a purpose and that I had the gift to deliver art. I thought about the promises I'd made to grandparents here and who've since passed. But most importantly, I listened to that fearless little girl once again. So why don't you befriend your inner child? You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. Careful the things you say, children will listen. Careful the things you do, children will see and learn. Children careful the things you do, children will see and learn. Guide them but step away, and children will glisten. Temper with what is true, and children will turn, if just to be free. Careful before you say, listen to me. Children will listen. Children will listen. Children will listen.
You know that song from Dora the Explorer? Well, little 2-year-old Ashton loved to sing this song in the car with her mum and dad as she arrived home. We lived in Dublin, and every day after a long commute across Dublin city centre, Ashton saw home and felt it. We did it! We did it! We did it! Yeah! I began to think our house was called We Did It. Mum and Dad realised this one day when they were looking at a photograph of the house, and Ashton toddled up, pointed at the photo and said, "Look, there's We Did It!" I love my family. I'm very grateful for how supportive they are. I know I'm lucky to have these kind of memories. Very well documented as I am, their firstborn. I swear, I must have countless photos of me doing everything. I think my favourite photo has to be of my first time at the beach. And I am standing there in floods of tears because I was petrified of sand. I just would not stand on the sand. You know, like them videos of the wee babies and their parents try to sit them down on the grass and they fling their legs out to the side because they don't like the feeling of grass? Yep, me with sand apparently. I quickly got over that fear. But you know the book, The Tiger Who Came to Tea? I used to have a fear of a tiger coming into our house and thinking I'm tea, which is completely rational. Who wouldn't be scared of that? But why does your mind imagine these things? Everyone has a phobia, an animal, a thing, a situation. Jenny's afraid of water. I mean, she swims so well, but still she's afraid of water. So she won't go near the sea. Not me. And Katie's afraid of darkness. I mean, she sleeps and all, but still she's afraid of darkness. So when the lights are out, she has to hold my hand. I don't understand. I'm not afraid of anything, be it mountains, water, dragons, dark or sky. I'm not afraid of anything. Tell me where's the challenge if you never try. So watch me fly. I'm not afraid. And I hear the calling of adventure, and I hear the ringing in my ear. The lights are glaring, trumpets blaring, I'm right here. And I hear the calling of tomorrow, and I feel the stirring in my bones. And they love me, they're afraid to hold me. Listen to the calling of excitement. Can you feel the pounding in my heart? The lights are ready, pulse is steady, I can start. Never stop the calling of a talent. Blessings on the water and the stones. And they love me, they're afraid to tell me. And they'll always be. watch them fall, 'cause after all, I'm not afraid. Do you have a memory that every time you are reminded of it, you are immediately filled with embarrassment? When I was 8 years old, I created a very original girl band with the girls in my class, and we called ourselves Mini Mix. Not at all influenced by Little Mix or X Factor, nope. I considered this quite a pivotal, serious moment in my music career at the time. First of all, it was the casting of this band, which was very controversial, because of course I took for granted that everybody wanted to be part of this new and upcoming girl group. But the lineup tended to change based on who was at school that day. Ava was sick on Friday. And I said, you have to be there on Friday, otherwise you're out of the band. And then Jenny came along and Jenny said, can I be in the band? So we did a group huddle. She's a crap singer. She looks like a man. Why, she got a beard, she's 8. Aye, but sure she's repeating. And I said, okay. But then I remembered that I promised Ellie she could take Ava's place, so I had to break the news to Ellie. Unfortunately, you cannot be in the band because, well, obviously you can't have more than 5 people in a band. But the point was, we never actually sang. We were just in the band. Imagine. Playground posers we were, walking up and down the playground, just being in the band, talking about all the famous people we were going to meet. I was so serious about this band. My mum, the legend she is, still has handwritten letters that I was going to send to all these celebrities, inviting them to my house. I had Justin Bieber, One Direction, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, all invited to my house so we could take a limousine to school, save Mini Mix from their boring lessons, and fly away off to London. I sat at my granddad's ancient computer, looking up record company addresses. Oh yeah, I went there, all the while thinking, they are just going to think I am so cool. Mini Mix is finally getting on its feet. But to be honest, at the core of all this is music. All my life, I just loved to sing. Nothing would stop Ashton from getting on the coffee table in her living room and belting out her own individual take on Hopelessly Devoted to You, because Ashton liked to make up her own lyrics. By now, or nowhere to hide, did you put my line aside? Oh, I'm out of my head, up at feet, devoted to you. Do you remember a moment like that, when the only person you felt the need to impress was yourself? I want to keep that child in me alive. She's the reason why I keep singing. As you grow older and you gain the benefit of sense, should you ever lose that starry-eyed kid who believed you could do anything and only saw the good in life? You don't really need a reason to do anything if you just love to do it. So when you have a moment to yourself tonight, think about that kid and just go after your dreams. C.S. Lewis said, someday you'll be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. Who knows when love begins? Who knows what makes it start? One day it's simply there, alive inside your heart. It slips into your thoughts. It infiltrates your soul. It takes you by surprise, then seizes full control. Try to deny it and try to spoken. Love is yours. Love never faints. Love never falters. Hearts may get broken. Love endures. Hearts may get broken. Love never dies. Love will continue. Love keeps on beating when you're gone. Love never dies once it is in you. Love lives on. Love lives on.
Yes, miss. No, miss. Yes, miss. Kosh. Control of substances hazardous to health. Well, when we work in the health sector as nurses or carers, we'll need to conduct risk assessments on hazardous substances held on the premises. Yes, miss. Sorry, miss. Won't happen again, miss. What were you like in school? This? This was me. And I know what you're thinking. How could tall, dark, handsome man that stands before you ever be that scared little boy who was afraid of conversation? Well, that's what this is about. Confidence, my pursuit to find it. See, the thing about confidence is a lot of people don't know where it comes from. Some people say that either you have it or you don't. Others say it comes and it goes. But we need confidence in every aspect of our lives. Take love, for example. You need confidence for love. You need the confidence to pursue love. Even if you had the confidence, you'd probably still fail. I mean, look at all the characters throughout history that had all the confidence you could ever ask for, and 90% of them still failed. See, I think that's where confidence and love are the same. Because love is beautiful. Love is swell. Love is as sweet as a nut. Love is grander than time can tell. Love is remarkable, but look at what it did to Anthony. It made a fool out of Anthony. If love could do that to Anthony, what chance have I with love? Look at what it did to Romeo. It dealt poor Romeo an awful blow. If love could do that to Romeo, what chance have I with love? Look what it did to Samson, till he lost his hair. He was brave. If a haircut could weaken Samson, it could murder me with a shave. Look at what it did to Bonaparte. He lost his head when he lost his heart. If he kicked over the apple cart, what chance have I, an ordinary guy? What chance have I with love? number 15, king of France. They say he suffered with each romance. If love kicked Louis in his short pants, what chance have I, an ordinary guy? What chance have I with love? Look what it did to Adam. From that bite he couldn't escape. If an apple could finish Adam, it could knock me off with a grape. Well, if love could do that to old Adam and Tony and Sam and the boys named above, what chance have I, an ordinary guy? What chance have I with love? Funny thing is, I wanted to be like those characters. Like Romeo, or the guys in the movies. You know, all the confidence in the world. That indirectly led me to want to become an actor. Very, very long story short, with the help of some incredible teachers and a bit of luck, I had an audition. Granted, the audition was the next day. We had to learn this poem. The character description was this scared, timid little boy with a stutter. I was made for the role. So me and my mum stayed up to 2 o'clock in the morning rehearsing this poem. Show up the next day, I go in that theatre, and there's 4 old boys sitting in the seating bank. Quietly, I join them. Then the door opens, and this man walks in. And he holds the room as he just stands there. Welcome. I'm the director and producer here in this theatre. I can't wait to see your auditions. Then he looked at me, almost like he looked through me. And he asked to see my audition. Felt like my heart was going to explode. There was lightning going through my veins. My breath turned into a hurricane. But I stood center stage, and I realized that for the first time in my life, I knew exactly what to say. Holy were the hunted forest boys. Holy the air, the water, and the fire. Yet even in these days so far retired from happy pieties, that I listened to fans fluttering amongst faint lampions. I see and sing by my own eyes inspired. So let me be thy choir. I moan upon the midnight hours, thy voice, thy pipe, thy lute, thy incense sweet of swing scents are teeming. Thy shrine, thy grove, thy oracle, thy heat of pale-mouthed prophet dreaming. I did it. I actually did it. And it was a pretty good audition as well. And did I get the part of the scared little boy? No. I got the part of the rough and rowdy kid called Kerrigan. Anyway, rehearsals lasted well over a month, and we drilled it in our skin and bones, non-stop. We knew where to be, when to be, and how to be at any given moment. The play, in a very basic form, was about these priests that abused these boys. I don't think I ever took that on to start. Anyway, comes the show day. I'm sweating everywhere, and I'm panicking, and I can't think, so without thinking, I run into the bathroom, and I lock the door, and I look in the mirror, and I notice this scared little boy looking back at me. Don't take yourself so seriously. Look at you all dressed up for someone you've never seen. You're here for a reason, but you don't know why. You split and uneven your hands to the sky. Surrender yourself. And I wonder why I tear myself down to be built back up again. Oh, I hope somehow I wake up young again. All that's left of myself, holes in my false confidence. I was on the stage within 5 minutes. Not thinking. My body was doing all the work. I could have done it blindfolded. We rehearsed it that much. I was thinking that everybody was looking at me. It was all eyes were on me. It was all about me. Until about 20 minutes in. I'm sitting down. The scene that I've already done 1,000 times over in rehearsals. The scene behind me is a priest abusing one of the boys. I'm writing in a journal. I look up, and there's this old couple, 60s, 70s, and the woman is cradling her husband, who's sobbing, watching the scene unfold behind me. In that moment, that scared little boy inside me got up and walked out of that theatre. Because I realized this wasn't about me. It never was. This was his story, and we had the privilege and duty of telling it right. And I think we did. It was incredible. After that day, I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Still doing it to this day. I still go in the bathroom and have a conversation with that scared little boy in the mirror before each show. I know what you're wondering. Are you confident? Sometimes. I don't think we can always be confident. I think we need that scared little kid inside us sometimes. I think sometimes when you look at them in the eye, ask them to leave the room.
You can't stop an avalanche as it races down the hill. You can try to stop the seasons, girl, but you know you never will. And you can try to stop my dancing feet, but I just cannot stand still. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart's keeping time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums, and I found my way. 'Cause you could stop the beat ever since this whole world began. A woman found out that she could shake up a man. So I'm gonna shake and shimmy it the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun in the sky. You can wander if you wanna.
The army have said throughout the day that they hope to use minimum force, but 3 hours after the procession began, this has ended up as the worst ever confrontation between the army and the Catholic people of the Craigan and Bogside.
The White Handkerchief. The people of a city rise to sing in innocent outrage. They move through the pallid light of familiar streets, from the embrace of loving homes, to make a cry under a brooding Sunday sky for civil rights and the recognition of pervasive wrongs. This was to be a day of peaceful defiance. This was to be a day of hope, a day to overcome. Instead, the city ignites in the charged fire of ruthless guns. A butcher's dozen left undone, with another passing yet to come. Lives and loves cut down in the heavy smoke of the Derry air. Truth and justice stolen, murdered there on the streets and the dark lanes of history. A battalion ready for anything is the marauding thief, prepared to spill the blood of innocence upon a white handkerchief.
Hello, my name is Brona Gallagher. The Playhouse Theatre in Derry City is my local theatre, but it is also a thriving arts centre, a place that is never done finding new ways of touching the creativity in all of us by bringing art, learning and peace building to every corner of our society. The Arts Centre puts paintbrushes in the hands of toddlers and pensioners every week. It has helped an elderly man write his name for the first time. It exists to provide a platform for new and emerging artists, all of whom help the Playhouse develop pioneering new types of theatre. The productions you watch in their theatre or online in their digital Playhouse are examples of this new type of theatre. They were created by a team of local artists and theatre makers, all of whom make up a thriving cultural world. That world has been threatened. We can't literally sit shoulder to shoulder in support of the arts at the minute, but we can sit in support digitally. Please show your support or visiting www.derryplayhouse.co.uk. Know that you sat in support and that you played a very important part in a place that's not just a theatre. It's a place of stories, a place of imagination, a house of play. So, come play.
We were young, like the year just begun. We had dreams in our eyes. We stood hand in hand by the rise of the land. We were the dreamers of dreams, impossible schemes. Then the radio said the blood's running red down the streets of the old town. Sound of gunfire, checkpoints and barbed wire as the days handed dead down. Here where innocence was murdered on the street. Light fades in the shadow of a loaded gun. Tell me, what cause has been won? When we lose humanity, anything can happen. Only tragedy remains. Na, 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 na. Na, na. Na, 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 na. We got on with our lives through the darkest of times. We were in elegy waking. We were the children of war, but we were reaching for more than a whole country failing. Then the newspapers said.
Clouds gather, and now to Ithaca. There's Odysseus leaving his family behind.
There's a civil rights march starts on Saturday, 2 p.m. in Duke Street. You going? definitely.
Where? Boys, start your going. They're getting faster. It's all right, boys. Start getting faster.
Troy wrecked. Greece wrecked. Who mourns? Nothing's gained. What's the point of Iliads and Odysseys lost?
Hello, Miss Donnelly. My name's Cal Doherty. I was wondering if I could have your... Why do I keep saying have? Hello, Miss Donnelly. My name's Cal. I was wondering if I could use your piano for practice. I've never seen anything like it before. All gaseous, watery mineral processes. All nations, colours, civilizations, languages. All identities that have existed on this globe. All the lives and deaths.
Are we coming to an end? Will it ever end?
We're the ones that have to live here. The army don't. Why? I'm flying.
No dancing.
Okay, no dancing.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Playhouse Theatre's Early Years programme. I'm Ethna, the adventurer from Play Make Believe. Today we are going to be using our imaginations. We're going to be telling stories, going on adventures and most importantly, having fun. And don't forget to tune in every week for a brand new Play Make Believe adventure. We look forward to seeing you.
Hi. Hello. I'm Gemma. And I'm Sarika. And we're Makey Uppers, Serious Egypts. We have been working together for the last 6 years. We're based in Derry, Londonderry, and we like to use all of our different skills to create meaningful work through play. We've toured the UK and Ireland with all sorts of shows for different age groups.
And here we are today on set for our new series of films that we're really excited about for the Early Years programme with the Playhouse, called Granny D and Me.
So make sure that you tune in to see our brand new pieces of work. Thank you.